Good morning, future educators. Today, we will be talking about one of the most important foundations of your profession as teachers, the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers or PPST. Now, before we delve into our topic, I want you all to close your eyes for a moment. Mm-hmm. All right, so now picture yourselves few years from now. You are already a teacher, standing in front of your own class, and you see your students' faces looking up at you. Now, ask yourself, what kind of teacher do I want to be? Do I want to be remembered as someone who simply taught lessons or as someone who inspired, cared, and made a real difference in their lives? Reflect on that. All right, you may now open your eyes. Future educators, that vision you just created is exactly why we're going to discuss the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers or PPST. It will serve as your roadmap, guiding you to become the kind of teacher you have imagined and even more. Once again, good morning, future educators. Now, we will be talking about the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers or PPST. Okay, so let's start with defining what is standard. Yes, would you like to share your thoughts about it? Excellent. Thank you so much for your answer. So, when you say standard, it is basically a clear expectation of what a teacher should know, do, and value inside the four corners of the classroom. For instance, in the Philippines, the PPST provides these standards to make sure that all the teachers are guided in their growth and in their practice. It also means professional accountability. Take note of that. Professional accountability that you, as future teachers, you are responsible for meeting these expectations and following the benchmark for effective teaching set by our profession, which is teaching. All right. In short, the PPST is both our guide and measure to ensure that we are doing our best for our students. Okay, moving on to the overview of the PPST. All right, in August 11, 2017, DepEd Order number 42 series of 2017 was signed by then DepEd Secretary Leonor Briones with the title National Adoption and Implementation of the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers or PPST. And you know what? Before the PPST, we already had an existing framework, which was called the National Competency Based Teacher Standards or NCBTS. So this served as the main guide for defining the teacher's roles and competencies in the Philippines, right? And it was formally recognized through CHED Memorandum Order number 52 series of 2007 for higher education institutions such as the colleges and universities gaya ng ASCOT, and later reinforced in the Department of Education through the DepEd Order number 32 series of 2009 in the basic education naman. So it means that 2009 and below, we are using NCBTS as our standards. Okay? So the question now is, future educators, why was PPST created when there is already an existing NCBTS framework, right? So what do you think? Anyone who'd like to share their thoughts about it? Yes? Do you want to answer? All right, go ahead, please. Okay. So there are reasons or there are events that happened why PPST was created in the first place, right? So the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers, or PPST, did not just appear overnight. It was created as a response to several major changes in education and in our society in general, right? So there were four important events that shaped the need for new standards, and those are: the first one, everyone, that is K to 12 reform. Okay. Number two is the ASEAN integration. Number three is the globalization. And number four is the 21st century learners. All right, everyone. Everybody read it. So, four important events. Number one is K to 12 reform, very well. Number two, ASEAN integration. Number three, globalization. And lastly, 21st century learners. So very good. Now, let's discuss these individually, right? So first of all, the K to 12 reform. This is the first reason why PPST was created, right? So in 2013, former President Benigno Aquino III signed Republic Act 10533, also known as the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013, or the K to 12, right? So, future educators, to help you easily remember this Republic Act, here's a trick that I want to teach all of you, right? So, you just have to add the numbers together, right, in this Republic Act. So, 1 plus 5, that's 6, plus 3, that's 9, and another 3, that's 12, right? Then, take the 0 and convert it into the letter K. Put them together, and what do you get? Correct. That's K to 12, right? So RA 10533 is a law adding 2 years to basic education and revising the learning competencies at all grade levels, right? So the very purpose of the K to 12 program is to standardize the education system in the Philippines and ensure that it is aligned, right? Remember that, aligned with the global standards, right? In the past, many of our professionals, such as doctors, teachers, and even other degree holders, were not fully recognized in other countries. For example, some doctors could only work as nurses or healthcare assistants in abroad, right? While some other teachers and professionals often ended up in jobs that is not really related to their expertise, such as domestic helpers or service workers. Okay, so this was because our education system was not at par or not equal with international benchmark or international standards. Okay, so through the K to 12 reform, the goal is to make the Filipino graduates and professionals more competitive and recognized globally. Okay, that is the very reason why we had to um, transform, or we have to adopt K to 12 in our curriculum. Okay, and also I want to give you this trivia. Alam niyo po ba na ang Pilipinas ang pangatlo sa huling bansa sa buong mundo na nagpatupad ng K to 12 program? Yes po. Matagal tayong naka 10-year basic education cycle habang halos lahat ng ibang bansa ay may 12 taon na. And ang dalawang bansang naiwan pa sa atin ay ang Djibouti at ang Angola, right? And ito rin ang isa sa mga pangunahing dahilan kung bakit ipinatupad ang K to 12 dito sa Pilipinas upang maging katumbas o kalevel tayo ng ibang bansa at mas maging competitive ang ating mga mag-aaral at professional sa buong mundo. Now you understand why we had to, right, adopt the K to 12, right? But the truth is we are not ready. I mean, the government, everyone, the teachers, the students, the government, we're not ready for the K to 12, right? I mean, going back then, right? Because there's a lot of lacking things, right? There's a lack of classrooms, walang teacher na magtuturo, walang trained na teacher to teach K to 12 curriculum, the government is not ready, and so on and so forth. That is why the Filipino students and even the parents saw this as parang pabigat lang or dagdag gastos lang, no? Thinking it way back, right? So now, future educators, since you know the very reason why we have to adopt to K to 12. So I hope no mas nalinawan tayo. Okay? So do you have any questions? Right, none. Very well. Okay, so now let's proceed to the second reason, right? For the number two, the ASEAN integration. So, with the Philippines being part of the ASEAN, right? ASEAN stands for Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So, technically, it is a community or a regional group of 10 countries in East Asia, right? That includes Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, the Philippines, Vietnam, Cambodia, Myanmar, Brunei, and Laos. So our teachers must be at par with their counterparts abroad, right? So this calls for raising the standards of teaching so that Filipino educators are not only effective locally but also globally competitive. Take note of that, locally and globally. So when we combine being competitive locally and also globally, we call that glocalization, right? So, to support this, the ASEAN has established the AQRF, or the ASEAN Qualifications Reference Framework, which serves as a regional reference system to align the qualifications of member countries. So, in the Philippines, this is matched with the PQF, or the Philippine Qualifications Framework, which defines the level of educational qualifications and ensures they are consistent with international standards. So basically po, ang PPST ay nakahanay sa mga framework na ito upang masigurado natin or matiyak natin na ang ating mga guro ay nakatutugon sa parehong pambansa at pandaigdigang pamantayan. Naintindihan po natin? Do you have any questions? Na none? All right, lovely. Okay, so moving on to number three, the globalization, right? So because of this, students are expected to thrive in a world that is fast changing, interconnected, and technology driven, right? So this means that teachers must go beyond simply delivering the lesson, right? So as teachers, you have to prepare your learners with essential 21st century skills such as communication, critical thinking, collaboration, and creativity. That is four C's. Again, the four C's are communication, critical thinking, collaboration, and creativity. Halimbawa po, kung dati, no, sapat na ang pagsusulat sa papel, ngayon kailangan turuan na natin ang ating mga estudyante paano gumamit ng digital tools. Example, kapag may pagkakataon na si maestra hindi niya kayang or there is a time constraint. Example, may kailangan puntahan si teacher, like seminars, trainings, or simply ibang trabaho niya at hindi niya kayang imit ang mga bata, no? Pwede namang imit niya ang mga bata through online, right? By video conferencing, like we can use Google Meet, Zoom, Skype, and others, right? And others, we can also teach our students na gumawa ng kanilang presentations, right? Through PowerPoint. For instance, we can teach them how to use MS PowerPoint, right? Or even Canva. Okay. And when it comes to research naman, you can actually browse a lot of journals online. You know, you also have Google and AI to aid you with your studies, right? However, I do believe that AI should be used responsibly and should be used with proper care, because if you're too dependent in using artificial intelligence, the danger is that it will negate no the very purpose of teaching and learning, right? So, kung dati po, simpleng pagtatanong lang sa klase yung ginagawa natin, ngayon, kailangan na rin nating hikayatin ang mga bata na makipag-collaborate sa isang grupo and mag-isip ng mga solusyon sa tunay na problema, right? So, dito po pumapasok ang PPST. Ito po yung gumagabay or guide sa inyo as future educators para masiguro natin na nakakasabay yung mga estudyante natin sa pangangailangan ng makabagong panahon or ng 21st century, right? So now, going on to number 4, changing 21st century learners, right? So this is the fourth reason. The Gen Z learners of today learn very different compared to older generations such as the boomers and millennials. Do you agree? Right? Both the learners themselves and the competencies they need have changed. And this is one of the key reasons why there is a need for updated standards like the PPST, right? And today's learners are often called digital natives. Kayo yun, no? You have been exposed to technology at an early age. You know what? Bigyan mo ng cellphone ng isang 3 years old. Kahit hindi mo sila turuan, anong gagawin nila, anong pipindutin nila. Alam nila exactly what they're going to do as if they are already programmed to do it, right? Do you agree with me? Yeah. Okay. So, the learners now learn through multimedia, social media, interactive platforms, and also learners nowadays, you are more curious, more collaborative, and critical compared to the learners in the past. Now, because of these, teachers cannot rely solely on traditional teaching methods, right? Instead, as future educators, you must innovate. Remember the word innovate, your strategies to keep learning meaningful and relevant. So the PPST serves as a guide for teachers to become more flexible, learner centered, and technology adept, ensuring that we can effectively meet the needs of this 21st century learners. It's very important, okay? So, to put it in a nutshell, the PPST was created in response to four major events, which are everyone, K to 12 reform, ASEAN integration, globalization, and the changing 21st century learners. These events remind us that as the world and our learners evolve, the teachers must also grow and adapt. The PPST serves as our guide to ensure that Filipino teachers remain effective, relevant, and globally competitive. And just to add, the PPST aims to, so please pause the video and read this three. Do you have any questions about the topic that we've discussed, everyone? Future educators, future top-notchers? None? Okay, lovely. Now, class, let us take a quick 5-minute bio break, right? And you may use this time to go to the comfort room or simply stretch and relax for a while. And please be back on time so we can smoothly continue with our discussion. Thank you so much. Okay, welcome back, future top notchers. Now, let's move on to the summary of the 7 domains of PPST that are required for the teachers to be effective in the 21st century in the Philippines, right? Everybody, kindly read what's on your screen. So there are 7 domains. The first one is the content, knowledge, and pedagogy. Number 2, learning environment. 3, diverse learners. 4, curriculum planning. 5, assessment and reporting. 6, community linkage. And lastly, number 7, personal growth and professional development. So, to help us easily absorb and remember the 7 domains of PPST, let's use this simple mnemonics, right? So, everyone say or read the sentence that's in blue box, right? So, everyone, cool learners do create amazing classroom practices. One more time. Cool learners do create amazing classroom practices. So if you can see, no, yung mga initial letters of each words in that sentence symbolizes the 7 domains that we have, right? So for letter C, cool, right? That is content, knowledge, and pedagogy. For the LE, that is for learning environment. For the D, that is diverse learners. Letter C, curriculum planning. Letter A, assessment and reporting. CL, community linkages, and lastly, the P is for personal growth and professional development. All right, everyone, one last time. Cool learners do create amazing classroom practices. Easy, right? Okay. So now let's start with the first domain, which is the letter C, the content, knowledge, and pedagogy. So this domain answers 2 important questions every teacher must reflect on. So the first one is what to teach or the subject matter, and the second one is how to teach it. That is the pedagogy or the strategies and the methods, right? So, as teachers, it's not enough to just simply know the subject matter or to just simply master the content of what you are teaching, right? You must also know how to deliver it effectively so that your students can truly understand and apply what they have learned, right? Halimbawa po, um, maaaring ikaw napakahusay na isang guro sa math, pero kung hindi naman niya maipaliwanag sa paraang maiintindihan ng mga mag-aaral, masasayang lamang ang kanyang kaalaman. So, ipinapakita ng content knowledge and pedagogy ang kahalagahan ng pagbalanse nito, no? Hindi lamang sa pagiging dalubhasa sa asignatura o sa subject na tinuturo mo, kundi sa pagiging mahusay ding tagapagdaloy ng pagkatuto, right? So kasama rin dito yung mga paggamit ng iba't ibang strategy, no, upang mas maging kaakit-akit, mas maging malinaw at angkop ang mga aralin para sa antas or level ng mga estudyante natin, no. So katulad ng ginawa natin kanina, gumamit tayo ng mnemonics para po mas madali nating ma-absorb yung 7 domains ng PPST na hindi natin pinipilit yung utak natin na kabisaduhin siya agad, no? So, it's as if automatic mo siyang, mas madali mo siyang ma-absorb, right? And isa pang halimbawa nito, yung paggamit natin ng TPR or yung Total Physical Response sa pagtuturo ng lesson kung saan ginagamit natin yung kilos ng ating katawan para mas madaling matandaan ng mga bata yung mga salita or mga concepts na pinag-aaralan po natin, no? So, naalala niyo po ba nung ginawa natin or inaaral natin yung mga philosophies of education or philosophies of teaching, no? 'Di ba, ginagamit natin yung mga kamay natin. So, yun mismo yung strategy na ginamit natin, isang halimbawa siya ng pedagogy or kung paano tayo magtuturo effectively, 'no, at mas maging engaging din yung learning and teaching process po natin. Naintindihan po? So, that's basically the content, knowledge, and pedagogy which is the domain 1. So, For additional readings, ito yon yung diniscuss natin kanina. So, in the domain 1, content knowledge and pedagogy, we have 7 strands, right? So, you may pause this video and read all the 7 strands that we have discussed a while back, right? Okay, now let's proceed to the second domain, which is the learning environment. So, when you say learning environment, it refers to the classroom dynamics and the overall atmosphere where students learn, right? So, it also emphasizes recognizing that learners are different in terms of their abilities, their interest, the backgrounds, and their needs, right? And as a future educators or as future teachers, you are expected to create a safe, inclusive, and supportive environment where everyone has the opportunity to succeed. Halimbawa po, kung meron tayong estudyante or mag-aaral na medyo mahiyain and hindi po siya nakikisali sa recitation 'no, imbes tawagin natin ng tawagin yung mga estudyante na laging nagtataas ng kamay, puwede nating i-encourage yung mga mahiyain nating estudyante para sumagot din 'no. In that way, mararamdaman din nila that they are belong to that class 'no. So baka naman alam talaga nila yung sagot, nahihiya lang po sila, right? So isa po yun sa mga examples na puwede nating gawin to create inclusive and supportive environment for them, right? And for the domain 2, this is the 6 strands, right? And like as usual, please pause the video and read this, right? So technically, na-explain na rin natin siya kanina, okay? Now, let's proceed to the domain 3, which is the DL or the diverse learners. So, this reminds us that students are not all the same, right? They are really unique from each other, especially when it comes to gender, right? Their socioeconomic background, their abilities, interests, strengths, and even their life experiences. And as teachers, you need to acknowledge these differences and we have to adjust our teaching strategies, no, so that every learner feels that they are valued and supported. Halimbawa, meron tayong technology-based assessment 'no, tapos may mga batang walang gadget or may mga estudyante na wala silang internet 'no. So, puwede tayong gumawa ng groupings na lamang to cater that problem, right? And also to encourage collaboration at the same time, right? So, it's like hitting two birds in one stone, right? Okay. So for domain 3, we have 5 strand, right? So there are the learner's gender, their needs, the strength, their interests and experiences. And we also have to consider their linguistic, cultural, socioeconomic, and religious background when we are teaching, right? And also, we have to acknowledge that some learners they have disabilities, they have gifts, and they have different talents. And also, some of the students, especially in basic education, they have different difficult circumstances, and some learners also came from indigenous groups, so we have to be respectful, right? As teachers, we have to model respect among our students, and we have to teach other classmates of those students to be respectful as well. So respect no begets respect, right? So moving on to curriculum or curriculum planning, which is the domain 4, right? So when you say curriculum, it is the bigger picture or what the whole course or what the whole subject wants the learner to learn or to achieve, right? And on the other hand, when you say lesson plan, this is the smaller picture or it is the clear daily outcomes that you as a future teacher sets, right? To for your learners to be able for them to reach those bigger goals, right? So, as teachers, it is your responsibility to transform the curriculum into lessons that your learners can understand and achieve step by step, right? Halimbawa po, sa curriculum natin, nakalagay na kailangan matutunan ng grade 3 student ang multiplication from 1 to 10, no? So, you as a teacher, ituturo mo ba yun lahat? One time, big time, like in one lesson? Of course not, right? So, trabaho mong hatiin ito in daily lessons. Like example, day 1, ang gagawin muna natin ay multiplying by 2s and 3s and 4s, right? For the first day. And for the second and third day, so on and so forth, right? In that way, mas madaling maunawaan ng mga bata yung lesson natin, no? So, chachap-chapin natin into smaller piece, right? Okay. So, for domain 4, we actually have five strands rather, right? So, the number one is you have to plan and manage the teaching and learning process. So, from the very first concept, right? From the lesson plan to the classroom management to the actual content up until to the assessment, it should have been already planned, no, firsthand. And the learning outcomes or the learning objectives should also, of course, be aligned with the learning competencies na ipapagawa natin sa mga bata. And number three, it should be relevant and responsive dun sa learning program, no? Kaya nga meron tayong curriculum na sinusundan. That's ano naman maganda doon sa DepEd kasi meron na silang ibinababa na curriculum, right? Nasusundan na lamang nating mga teachers, right? And then for number 4, we are acknowledging or the PPST is also encouraging the collaborations or the professional collaboration para mas mapayaman pa natin yung teaching practice natin. Example, um, tatlo kayo na nagtuturo sa the same subject na yun. So, all of you can actually collaborate and think of creative ways on how to teach that specific subjects, right? Especially sa mga malalaking school, 'di ba? Most probably 'yan. For example, in English, no, maraming teacher na magtuturo sa isang subject because malaki yung school. So, if that's the case, then all of you can go ahead, talk, sit down, and think of effective and creative way on how to teach the subject, right? And then the last one is the teaching and learning resources should be included ICT or technology, no? So, sa panahon ngayon, in the 21st century, hindi lamang traditional na pagtuturo or instructional materials yung gagamitin natin. So, it's a must for us, no, to teach and learn resources like using resources, technology resources like television, projector, no? So kayo bilang mga first year, alam nyo dapat, no, paano mag-set up ng mga basic like paano mag-set up ng TV, no, paano i-connect ang HDMI sa laptop, might as well for projectors, no, paano mag-connect sa speakers, no? So you also have to discover game-based website that you can use in your teaching. So all of that must be incorporated in your teaching. Understand po? Okay. So now let's move on to the domain 5, which is assessment and reporting. Of course, after considering the diverse learners, you have already planned your curriculum, no? Of course, you have to do assessment and reporting. So when you say assessment, this is yung mga test, quizzes, activities, no? And as a teachers in the future, kaya yun, you should design, choose, and use the right assessment or the appropriate assessment strategy, no? So this means that you're not just giving the traditional paper and pencil test, but also using projects, performance tasks, or portfolios or even the class participation like recitation, or you ask them to study and memorize this concept and then they have to um, present them in class, something like that, no? And as a teacher, you also need to regularly monitor and evaluate the progress of your learner, no? To check if the goals of learning are achieved, no? So hindi pala eme-eme lang ni ma'am at ni sir ang pagpapa-quiz at pagpapa-recite, no? So yun pala ginagawa ni ma'am at ni sir para masigurado natin na talagang natututo kayong mga estudyante, no? And then finally, as teachers, you must report the results clearly and fairly to the students and the parents, no? So halimbawa, hindi lang puro quiz ang paraan ng assessment. Pwede tayong magpagawa ng posters, role play, or portfolios, no? So, meron akong tanong, future educators. So, mag-raise lamang po ng right hand or for instance, if you are watching this videos, no, pwede nyo pong mag-answer or pwede kayong mag-type dun sa comment section since probably I will be posting this on Facebook or probably in my YouTube channel, no? So, please, paki-type in ang inyong kasagutan sa aking tanong, no? Siyempre, wag din kakalimutang ilagay ang inyong pangalan at inyong section, right? So, this is the question. Pwede bang malaman ng isang estudyante mula sa kanyang teacher ang grade ng kanyang kaklase? What do you think? Example, yung kaklase niya, best friend niya talaga, no? Tapos si teacher, sinishare na niya, no, sa mga estudyante niya yung mga grades nila individually. Ngayon, yung kanyang best friend absent kasi sinasakit. Ngayon, pwede bang itanong ni student kay teacher yung grade nung kanyang kaklase, 'di ba? Para kasi masabi na lang niya kay best friend niya or kay BFF niya after kasi nga absent to eh. Sige nga po, paki-type in nga po ang inyong mga kasagutan, no, sa comment section. Or if you are watching this in a live class discussion, I want anyone, no, to answer, raise their hand and answer. Okay? All right. Thank you so much for answering, future educators, no? So, to answer that question, ang sagot po ay hindi. No, kahit pagaano kayo ka-close, kahit pagaano kayo kadikit ng taong 'yan, hindi puwedeng sabihin sa iyo ni ma'am at ni sir yung grades ng iyong kaklase because we have that data privacy law wherein ang pwede mo lamang makita ay ang iyong own grades at computation kung paano for instance may tanong ka 'no, paano na-compute yung iyong grade. So yun, puwedeng ipakita sa'yo ni ma'am at ni sir 'no. Pero kung ipapakita niya sa'yo yung grades ng iba, hindi po siya puwede because that is against the Data Privacy Act. Okay? I hope you have understand that, future educators 'no. So hindi puwede kahit pabigyan kayo ng authorization, hindi puwede. Okay? Next, let's proceed with the domain 5. Okay, we're all already done with that, right? So we have already discussed this. So take a time to pause it, to pause the video po, and pakibasa itong 5 strands that we have for the domain 5. Ayan. Thank you so much. So now let's proceed with the domain 6, right? What is the community linkage? Okay, so like what we have discussed before, the teacher is at the center of the community, no? Serving as the link between the school and society. So you as teachers or future teachers rather, you create a learning environment that is responsive to the community's context and you have to engage the parents and wider the school community in the learning process, no? And you have to uphold the professional ethics and at the same time follow the school policies and procedures, right? So to put it in a nutshell, when you say the teacher serves as the bridge between the school and the community. So to visualize it, no, isipin mo na si teacher siya yung tulay or yung bridge, right? And then sa kabilang dulo is yung school, no? And sa kabila yung community. So as a teacher, you serve as the bridge or ikaw yung nag-uugnay para mas maging meaningful ang learning, no? Kasama ang parents, barangay, or ang LGU at iba pang stakeholders. Sabi nga nila, it takes the whole village to raise a child, right? So, hindi lamang siya responsibility ng teacher or hindi lamang siya responsibility ng parents, but it takes the whole village, right? Okay, to understand more about it, you can pause this video and read the four strands that we have for the domain 6. Now, moving on to the domain 7 or the last domain, which is about the personal growth and professional development, no? So this domain naman, it emphasizes that as teachers, we should continuously grow not only in your skills but also in your character, no? Syempre dapat may character development. And that includes having, number one, you have a clear teaching philosophy. Number two, you value the dignity of the teaching profession. No? Hindi mo siya sinasalaula. No? And then number three, you should do your best to build good professional relationships and striving to improve through ongoing professional development goals. Halimbawa, ang isang guro dapat 'no, patuloy ka pang uma-attend sa mga training, seminars 'no, para mas gumaling ka pa sa pagtuturo. And at the same time, you should also collaborate to your colleagues or to your fellow teachers, and you should remain loyal to the dignity in upholding the dignity of being a teacher, no? In this way or sa ganitong paraan po, hindi lamang ikaw nagiging mas mahusay na guro, kundi nagsisilbi ka ring mabuting huwaran sa iyong mga estudyante, right? And beside that, they say that as teachers, no, you are, once a teacher, you are forever a student, or as a teacher, you are a lifelong learning. Dahil hindi lamang natatapos sa pag-graduate mo ng bachelor's degree ang pag-aaral bilang teacher, no? So, after finishing your bachelor's degree, you should also pursue your graduate studies or your master's and your doctorate. Oh, ready na po ba kayo sa forever na pag-aaral ng teacher, no? So kung yung iba nakabakasyon na sila, yung mga teacher tuwing bakasyon merong iba't ibang trainings pa yang mga yan, may iba't ibang seminars and webinars na kailangan attendan because you have to be updated to the trends, no, of the teaching profession. Kasi nagbabago ang panahon, nagbabago ang pangangailangan ng mga learners. So you have to parang makasabay 'no sa pagbabagong 'yon, right? Naintindihan po? Very well. Okay, so to give you more readings about that, please pause this video and read the 5 strands that we have for the domain 7. Right? So technically these are the things that we have discussed a while back, right? Okay. So as you can see, future top-notchers, no, there are 7 domains of the PPST which serve as your roadmap in becoming the most effective, responsible, and globally competitive teachers, right? So, pito po yan. So, again, no, from mastering the subject and teaching it well, that is the letter C. Again, basahin nga po nating lahat yung ating mnemonics para mas madali nating matandaan at maabsorb. Cool learners do create amazing classroom practices. So, from mastering the subject and teaching it well, that's the C, no, and creating safe and supportive classroom, LE, addressing the needs of diverse learners, that's D, planning meaningful lessons, C, assessing learners fairly, that's A, connecting with the community, letter C, and continuously growing as professionals, P. All these domains no, remind us that teaching is not just about delivering lessons, but also about shaping the lives of our learners. So always remember, cool learners do create amazing classroom practices. Okay? So, do you have any questions, clarifications? Right. Okay. So, moving on to the last part of our discussion is the career stages, the different career stages ng mga teachers, no? So, the teacher development does not just stop, sabi ko nga kanina, no, hindi siya natatapos sa pag-graduate lang or once mapasa nyo yung board exam, no? Instead, this is a continuing journey. So from being a beginning teacher up to becoming an exemplary and distinguished teacher, every stages, no? It requires growth and improvement. And ma'am, ano po yung apat na career stages that we have? Ito na po yun, ibibigay na natin, no? So, let's begin with the beginning teachers or BT. Everyone say beginning teachers. Very well. That is BT. Number two, the second level is the PT or the proficient teacher. Everyone say PT, proficient teacher. Perfect. Number three, HPT or highly proficient teacher. Everybody? Yes, wonderful. And lastly, the last stage is DT or distinguished teacher. All right, future educators, huwag nating kakalimutan ang BT or beginning teacher, PT, proficient teacher, HPT, the highly proficient teacher, and lastly is the DT or the distinguished teacher. Ma'am, ano nga po ba yung pagkakaiba ng apat na to, no? So let's start with beginning teacher or BT, right? So this is the entry level or the starting point in the teaching profession, no? At this stage, a teacher has already gained the required qualifications. For example, finishing education, no? And you have already passed the licensure examinations or the LET. So that will allow you to enter the teaching profession. And during this time, you are considered novice or baguhan pa lamang na teacher, no? And you have to still learn and gain experience as you start applying your knowledge and your skills in the real classrooms. Okay? Naintindihan po ang BT or beginning teacher? Okay. So to the second, ano naman tayo, to the second stage, which is the PT or the proficient teacher, no? So this is usually the stage with 1 to 3 years of experience, no? And at this point, the teachers are already professionally independent, meaning they can already carry out the teaching and learning process on their own. Okay? And they know how to plan the lessons, how to manage the classroom, how to assess the student, and use the strategies effectively without constant guidance. But of course, they still need guidance from their master teachers, pero hindi na kagaya ng mga BT, no, na dapat constant yung guidance. Okay? So let's proceed naman to the third stage, which is the highly proficient teacher or the HPT. So HPT is, ito naman yung mga teachers who already served as a mentors and role models in the profession. So we often call them as the master teachers, right? So in this level, teachers consistently show a high level of performance in their teaching practice. So magaling na sila, no? They don't just teach effectively, but they also guide, support, and coach other teachers so the whole school community can grow. So ibig sabihin, si HPT pala ma'am, siya yung nagga-guide, nagtuturo, nagko-coach kay PT at kay BT. Yes, very well. Now, let's proceed to the last stage. That is the distinguished teacher or the DT. So in this level naman, teachers are considered the leaders in the education fields, right? Kagaya ng college presidents, deans, district supervisors, no, and head teachers or principals, no. So in this level, the teachers already represent the highest, no. Take note of that, highest standards of teaching and are already grounded in global best practices. So they are not only excellent in their own work, but they are also recognized leaders, innovators, collaborators, and someone who can already contribute to the growth of the whole education community. So, naintindihan po ba natin yung apat na career stages, no? So, again, those are everyone, BT, PT, HPT, and DT, right? Very well. Okay, do you have any questions, any clarifications about the topic that we have just discussed? Okay, go ahead and ask me. All right. So if none po, ayan, I just want to give uh, credit to the photos that I have used for this presentation to Mr. Adrian Miras, a member of the Voice of the Sierra. No? Hiniram ko po ang kanyang mga pictures na kinuha ko mula sa page ng TVOTS. Ayan, I'd like to just credit him for the photos. No? So, future educators, if you don't have any questions, thank you so much for watching this video, for listening, right? And I hope you have absorbed, understand, no, the PPST na diniscuss po natin. Thank you so much, and that's it for today's video. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now.